No, I mean,
literally
listen, we started this conversation about Putin saying democracy is dead. That's what democracy experts are telling us, that we are this close in America to democracy being dead. So when they're saying the same thing Putin is saying about our democracy, it's 5-alarm fire time, right?
Let me help you understand, because, I'm all ranty and everything.
Yes, shouty McShoutface.
Every once in a while, I like to descend down into, the depths of academia so that you all have an idea of where I'm really coming from. I have a book here called The Brief History of Fascist Lies, right? By Federico Finkelstein. This book, it's very short. It's only like 100 pages. But it's the most profound thing I've read in a very long time. I've quoted it a few times in my book. But one of my favorite parts of this was he explains why Trump lies, why Steve Bannon, all the rest of them go along with the big lie. And he says very quickly, mass leaders seized power to fit the reality of their lies. They will change our history. They will change reality. They will turn the big lie into a quantifiable truth. And so what they do is they will craft lies to justify killing people.
Yeah. Well, it's like the president said in Tulsa yesterday. I've just never heard. I was never taught about the Tulsa race massacre. I mean,
in my book,
they just erase our history, So they'll erase this whole period. I mean, it's
so
yeah. Anyway.
Steph, I'm here to sound the alarm. I know we're a little over. We're going to 51. I'm here to sound the alarm. This is warning time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Drop everything. If we don't get the HR1, SR1, the Voting Rights Act passed, done.
Yep.
Done.
Absolutely.
It will be finished.
Yep.
Nothing else will be completed ever.
All right.
We've got to pressure our people. These right-wingers are pressuring their people to the point where, who was it who said, Charlie Sykes, he said, Republicans are actually in a disinformation competition. They are trying to outcompete each other to lie.
They're already rewriting the history of January 6th. Aye, Admiral Hardbreak. It is indeed 51 after. Thank you so much. Love
Thanks,
you.
Malcolm.
See you next week. I mean, do we even need to do a commercial for the Steph store? I mean, the shirts are flying off the right. Look at this. Look at it. Get your face
Look at that.
Get your face up there. Look. We have them for Team Pfizer, Team J&J. We are all Team Vaccine here. We have amazing.
That's right.
And you can get it on everything. Right, Chris? Not just shirts.
Bath mats, shower curtains. You can get it on art, a clock. You can get
Duvet.
a selfie bomb on a clock.
We have Stephanie Miller swag. We have sexy liberal swag. And, of course, all the vaccine shirts. Get it now. StephanieMiller.com. Whee! Hi, Dana. Oh, Dana, could I have some conspiracy music? You've been found out. I'm sure you heard about this story. A boat burst into flames after its passengers allegedly harassed a group flying LGBT pride flags on their boat. Tommy says only one way this could have happened: a Jewish lesbian with a space laser. Has anybody seen Dana Goldberg?
Maybe.
A boat full of homophobes just happens to blow up out of nowhere?
Maybe the harassment was real and the flames were alleged. I don't appreciate the way you stated that story.
Just saying.
Did anyone really see the flames? It could have been CGI?
Okay.
Or could have just been a bunch of flaming people.
And also,
that's just karma. Boom. Karma.
Also, the guy, his pants, and then fell
He
in the
did.
water. Mm-hmm.
Yep. He pooped his pants.
The homophobe that was yelling at the people with the pride flag. All right. Okay, hi. Hi, happy Pride.
Happy Pride, everyone, on this third day. Let's see what DeSantis signs, because, wow, he's a POS, isn't he?
Yes. Indeedy do. Well, you made quite a living at cruises. This is just, we were just talking to Dr. Redlener about it. Are they just actively trying to kill people? He is threatening to fine cruise lines $5,000 for every person they ask if they're vaccinated.
Which
Cruise
is so
lines
weird because
are
that's
petri
his
dishes.
base.
They have every right to keep their passengers and their crew safe and require
100%.
vaccination, don't they?
Not to mention that's a lot of their constituents. Why would you just want to kill off your base?
Right.
I don't. Ted Cruz is talking about mandating that trying to outlaw mandating vaccination anywhere. I'm like, okay. Because we were saying, aren't we all dealing with this? Is like, we're very gingerly coming back into life. And like I was saying, Dana, I've gone to and I'm giving some very small dinner parties where I know everybody's vaccinated. That's
Absolutely.
it. And I think a lot of people are like that. This whole thing about, it's not unemployment benefits that are making people hesitant about going back to work. It's being safe. It's the many workplaces that they don't know. You don't know who's vaccinated and who's not. You don't have child care because kids aren't back in work in school yet. Excuse me. Right?
And some families, they're not back at work. Yep. Some of the kids, I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't back there.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's the whole place we're at right now, where I just don't see how this can work going forward. Just this patchwork of, it's required some places and not others. And, you don't know where people are vaccinated and where not, right?
No, it needs to be something mandated across the country. It all goes back to the former guy, though. If we had actually had someone who was competent and in office in the presidency when this happened, this wouldn't be such a partisan issue. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
It's infuriating most days, actually.
We've also been talking about, no big, just the death of democracy here in America and whether people are showing the proper, urgency. This is, of course, why they don't want to investigate. We just played Mitch McConnell. Why they don't want to investigate what happened, because it's ongoing, right, Dana, in Arizona, in all these voter suppression laws, in the amount of, this is whereas in some corners of social media, adherents to the QAnon conspiracy theory are still plotting how to overthrow the results of the 2020 election and have hinted at further violence. Of course, groups on the platform dedicated to QAnon and pro-Trump conspiracy theories have tens of thousands of members, many of whom hang on every word the former president says. So where is it? Telegram? Is that one of the really nutty ones?
That's one of the ones they use.
So Trump went on OAN in a response to a question about a potential 2024 run. He said something has to be done before 2022 to stop the Democratic agenda. So one user says he doesn't. It's a great day when we start seeing evidence of the plan coming together. He just told us it won't be long now. He just told us that he's coming back this year. Everything's going to be reversed. Dana. They really believe this. Yes, as
do.
Kimberly Johnson just told us, yes, it's a grift. They're idiots, and they're giving money to this ridiculous grift. But at the same time, it's dangerous. He's also absolutely trying to incite more violence, right?
100%. If this whole rumor that he's going to be reinstated in August, I would not be surprised if this doesn't happen again. Some sort of violence in August when this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
He has somehow been convinced by My Pillow guy?
Yes.
Does he really believe this garbage?
Right, Dana. This is a conversation we have to have in 2021. The My Pillow guy is boasting that he was the one who put the idea in Trump's head that he will be reinstated as president later this year. Trump has reportedly been increasingly quizzing confidants about a potential August return to power. What's more, he's claimed a lot of highly respected people who Trump didn't name have been saying, people are saying it's possible. If Trump is saying August, Pillow Guy said it's probably because he heard me say it publicly. Also, Kraken lawyer Sidney Powell has pushed the idea at a QAnon conference. But the August deadline seems to be unique to the My Pillow Guy would be the highly respected.
And then you've got like a panel on some Fox News show blaming it on liberal media somehow. Now it's somehow liberal media that's convinced, Donald that he's going to be reinstated in August. The bottom line is does he actually believe this is happening? Like someone has actually convinced him of this. And the moron is like, oh, I'm going to be president again. I should. Okay.
Did you see there was a psychiatrist, one of the Duty to Warn people that was on Lawrence O'Donnell list, just talking about Trump's also, like, there was somebody that talked about this after the election. This is his last good day. He will be, tagged with the term loser. He will, be hunted by investigators. He will lose his, properties, and his mental health is, and he was saying it absolutely, his mental health is obviously unraveling. He obviously actually believes this delusion, right? I don't know what percentage of the country it is, Dana, just completely go insane.
Yeah, we were testing my Zoom on her computer, and she looks down and goes, "Who is Dick Pinch?" And I said, "Oh yes, I've been doing Zoom porn on the side. That's what I do. I wake up at 2:00 in the morning and just
yours and my homage to Bill O'Reilly.
Dick Pinch, Clear Lake, Iowa. Bill.
Yes.
Bill just not quick on the uptake on letter writers.
He's not.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
There was more, wasn't there? Every week, someone would prank him with a letter, and he just
like Jack.
Right. Oh, Jack Mayhofer.
Yes.
Right.
Jack Mayhofer, Springfield, Massachusetts, says, O'Reilly, I see the new Fox definition of...
Okay.
Yes. Every time I tweet that out, someone's got to jump into my mentions and go, "Yeah, well, that person really exists, Bob." Like,
all right.
I said, I got to call in Jen Kirkman to handle my mentions.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jen, please.
Can I just tell you, you retweeted Jen Kirkman, and I had the most hilarious. I wonder if she might allow me to do this. I had the most hilarious text. We're having a comedy gal little party. And so I had the most hilarious text chain, and she sent me actual video of her falling into a pool. There was not alcohol involved, which is weird. But if I thought I was a bad dancer,
Yeah.
she's going to help me feel better at this party
good.
because she was practicing her Pilates move with a friend doing an interpretive dance, and she fell into the pool, and she pulled up like a mic stand or something with her thinking it would steady her, and the mic stand hit her in the face. She has a black eye. So she sent me a picture of her with the black eye and pulling
Oh my God.
and pulling the mic stand into the pool on top of
And
her.
then she jump out of the water and go, "Live from New York. It's Saturday night."
No, she didn't. I thought I was the biggest I fell into an
Suddenly
orchestra.
she's wrapped in Venetian blinds or something. And
I fell into an orchestra pit in Philadelphia, sans alcohol.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I swear there was no alcohol. I just sort of thought that this would steady me." And I was like, "You were doing an interpretive dance with your friend?" And she's like, there was Pilates moves."
She's writhing around on the ground, wrapped up in a garden hose like Chevy Chase in Seems Like Old Times.
She might be. I was like, "You are a charming, delightful little mother, aren't you? Look at you. You are so quirky."
Yeah.
She's a quirky little mother. Okay.
yes, I'm going to ask her about all of this on my show this afternoon.
I
because
actually
she's gonna be on my interview
I
show today.
specifically in my text, I'm like, "Can I tell Bob Seska the story on the air tomorrow?" And she said yes. And she said that maybe she said we can post the video when she's on next. I'm just going to ask her if we can post it now because I literally said, "Is there video?" She's like, "Yes, here it is."
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I
But
thought you
feel
were talking
less
about
spazzy.
when.
I feel less spazzy.
Right.
She goes, "I fall all the time."
Well, I mean, one of her famous drunk history appearances, she ends up in a pool at the end of the night, fully clothed,
I
of
guess
course.
that happens a lot. I was like,
Yeah, it's like her shtick.
I was
you know,
like,
it's
I'm so glad this didn't happen at my house. I told her I'm gonna strap you into a high chair. She goes, "Please rent it. I'll reimburse you." I said, "I'll just strap you to the swing set with a helmet." I don't want the liability. All right, so Bob, I was saying yesterday, an homage to Bob Seska, that I focus so much on how hunky you are and funny and what a great interviewer. Also, your bits crack me up. There's some drug bit where you go, "Whisper all." Okay, is the name of a drug.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's all the drugs that the Duggars took in order to get through their family crisis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Okay.
of the
And the one
I
that
listed all of the antidepressant, anti-anxiety medications, every single one of them. And I threw in some made-up ones in there too. Yeah.
it's my favorite.
And
And also the Rand Paul toupee one, now that he's back in the news.
Yeah.
What the actual F was he talking about yesterday? About he was concerned about birds on cocaine?
Yeah.
Seriously. Quails?
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not the Dan Quayle family.
I'm sure
Actual-
they were talking. Yeah, I'm sure they were talking about it on Joe Rogan or something like that. It's like, he's part of
Yes.
that whole universe of bro science and libertarianism. And
Oh my God! You were talking
Ayn
about this
Rand.
the week. Jeff Tiedrich said it must be exhausting to be a Republican. Always have to remember which stupid bolt you're supposed to be whining about this week. Right? It's always something that's
Yeah.
not relevant to anyone's life. Right? I mean, it's,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, last night, I think on Fox News, it had something to do with a park in Seattle.
Right.
They were screaming about a woke park in Seattle is the greatest outrage on Fox News right now in the current news cycle.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're on top of things,
Yes.
right? And the
I
important
want
things.
Anyway, the toupee ad, where you have the different kinds of Rand Paul toupees, and one is tangled extension cords, and the other is.
Oh, yeah.
What are the other ones?
Yeah. Oh God! Oh my God! The
Pack of angry ferrets.
Yeah, the cockeyed roadkill. I think that was one of them.
I think you admitted you might have been altered in some way when you wrote that bit, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. The rusty corkscrews.
Okay. All right. Okay, so here's where you retweeted the famously spazzy Jen Kirkman, who makes me look like a good dancer. That's the reason.
Yeah.
That's what friends are for. She said you can't be mad at Maggie Haberman for amplifying Trump if you don't understand that he is going to incite another coup attempt in August. You've learned nothing from January 6th. They told us they were going to do it, and they did. He's going to be riling up his Q army from now until indictment, and you just said yes. I mean, am I too panicky, Bob?
No, I think we need to take them seriously.
Absolutely.
First of all, they've done it once already, as you said. And so there's no other proof that we need that they're capable of doing these things. And it's not the first time August has slipped out. Mike Lindell has been talking about August for a couple of months now. So this has been on the table for some time. And to go to the Myanmar example just symbolizes how stupid that entire Red Hat movement is, because I saw a thing on CNN where they had a bunch of people outside that Q convention where Mike Flynn was, and they were talking to them about overthrowing the government, and they were talking, we should do what they don't even know quite how to pronounce it.
We should do what their people in Myanmar did.
Yeah, and I challenge any one of them to find Myanmar on a map, much less describe what actually happened in Myanmar, which is
it's right next to Abbottabad.
Horrible. Oh yeah.
No, it's not.
That's exactly right. Yeah, but I mean, what happened there was immensely tragic. I mean, it's a military coup.
Yeah.
After 10 years of small d democratic rule there, the rightfully elected leader of Myanmar was reelected last November. See if this sounds familiar. Reelected last November with 83% of the vote. And then in March, throughout that period of time, throughout the winter, while Donald Trump was screaming about a fraudulent election, so was the military in Myanmar. They were saying, oh, yes, this was a fraudulent election because the law there allows the military to declare a state of emergency. That's what they did. The military declared a state of emergency, arrested the leader of Myanmar, arrested the cabinet, and now they're being put on trial in some sort of secret military tribunal.
And Bob,
right.
People are calling this a slow-moving coup. I got news for you. It ain't that slow-moving. How many states, Travis, have these bills that these 100 scholars just said they don't meet the basics for democracy, these voter bills.
As we say, здравствуйте, как дела?
You don't say that. We don't say that, but you do.
Yeah, well, when we're talking to Donald Trump's Russian overseers, you may as well speak in the original language.
Yeah.
So
Malcolm, okay, yes. Putin is prepared to press Biden on the human rights of Capitol rioters when they meet this month in Switzerland. Lavrov, it's that guy again.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, gosh.
He keeps popping up.
Yeah, he said alleged rioters are being persecuted. That's weird because that's what Paul Gosar and a lot of the other insurrectionists that helped the Capitol rioters say. That Putin will turn the tables on Biden over U.S. support for Russian dissidents such as Alexei Navalny, who he poisoned. Malcolm, your thoughts?
I have a fantasy that's going through my head where Joe Biden meets Vladimir Putin, and later on they release the readout of that meeting.
Yeah.
And it will, where Vladimir Putin comes up and says, "You are oppressing the insurrectionists who tried to liberate themselves from your evil doings. We should prosecute you in the Human Rights Court."
Yeah.
Whatever. The one that we should say to him. I have this fantasy that all the readout says is, ha, 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 ha. And it's just like, and then there'll be a little parentheses. This is what we call an operator edit. And it says, continues for 2 minutes, 37 seconds. So this is what I have in my head. Joe Biden laughing, and then a big pause, right?
Yeah.
President takes a sip of water. Then continues laughing for 4 minutes, 27 seconds. This is what we should do. What you are looking at here, this is old school. This is not even Russian. This is Soviet in how they would turn these things that would occur in the United States like civil protests. Yeah. And now what the Russians are vying for is the option of being able to say that they are championing the white nationalist and pro-Trump QAnon crazies that stormed the citadel of democracy. Now, it should be no surprise, Vladimir Putin himself said 3 years ago, and you might recall on this show, we had a big, long, laughable discussion about it, where he said liberal democracy in the West is dead. It's a failed ideology. This guy is going to push that left and right. He is trying to do two things. One, co-opt the love and admiration of all of these white nationalists. Don't forget the Texas secessionist movement leader moved to Moscow. The California secessionist movement leader moved to Moscow. Yeah. Richard Spencer, the head of the neo-Nazis, has a Russian wife and lives and stays in the apartment of David Duke, the head of the Ku Klux Klan, who has an apartment in Moscow. Is there anything here I haven't quite made clear? White nationalism has a second home in Moscow, and they are now playing to this. They are playing to the Trump adoration, the Trump love, and in no time, people will say, well, that Vladimir Putin's not a bad guy. He loves Trump, and he's looking out for our human rights. Oh, my God. I won't laugh for 2 minutes, so I'll just cut it off now.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it really is infuriating when you know.
It is.
I mean, particularly when, tell us what's happening. Clearly, Russia is stepping up all these attacks, right, on the Colonial Pipeline, the meat plant, before this meeting with Biden, right? I mean, and I'm trying to think what Microsoft talking about other hacking from the SolarWinds people, correct?
Look, well, the Colonial Pipeline has proved that you can now blackmail them and get an easy $5 million. Because they paid them off. They paid them off like within a day or so.
Right.
That whole time that they were waiting was for them to get the keys to the encryption and then to get the system back online. So this stuff pays. These guys are vigilante activist criminals who work for the Kremlin. They are not allowed to run around in Russian computers without the Kremlin knowing. And don't forget, these are the people who actually wrote into their code it would not work on keyboards that operated in Russian Cyrillic. Yeah. Which means half of Eastern Europe would not be infected by this code. It only worked on QWERTY computers.
Yeah.
So Russia uses hacking, cyber criminals, nationalistic vigilantes, to do two things: steal and smear. And that's why whenever they have an opposition leader, and whenever someone pops up, the first thing you hear is this: he had child porn on his computer.
Yeah.
Which they use to arrest you, which they put it on there. Of course they did. This is not just a bunch of amateurs. This is Russia's national security agency.
Hey, isn't it fun to see old friends right at the death of democracy?
Yep. Yes.
She might still have time to save it. It's our friend AG from Mueller, She Wrote, and I can say now her name's Allison Gill. Her name's Allison Gill.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Hey.
And yeah.
Hi, AG. Hi. I asked you, do you know how many times I start a sentence with our friend AG from Mueller, She Wrote says, and then I read one of your tweets to see what's up.
Steph Miller, it's been a pandemic since I've seen you.
It has been some, right? You have just launched MSW Media, which includes the wildly popular The Daily Beans, which you have poached our Dana Goldberg for one of those shows, which I could not be happier about. Mueller, She Wrote, Clean Up on Aisle 45, and ready, everybody? the heavyweights. Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner.
Yep.
The Bureau with Frank Flaguzzi. What? These are my man people. And also On Topic with Renato Mariotti. I mean, that is a lineup. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, we just brought on opening arguments too, and we're in talks with a couple of others. And great. It's been great fun. It's a small, group of a little modest group of like-minded
democracy warriors, ma'am.
There,
Yeah.
but I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And do we get to talk about the Crazy Times Carnival recount in Arizona?
Oh yes, go
Absolutely.
ahead, please.
Yeah.
That's why I opened with that. Let's go ahead. Your thoughts on the fraud?
Like you said, Chris, fundraiser, right? This
Yes.
is to raise money. My fear is that this is to harvest voter information, right? So that they can get all that information and sell it to the highest bidder, or keep it for themselves and use it for, the kind of stuff that they use, the social media manipulation. But I've been calling it the Fraud It or the Crazy Times Carnival recount, because they had in the parking lot a thing called the Crazy Times Carnival. So I thought that fit really well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're saying, AG, is it's we can laugh at it, and yet it's really dangerous. And now this is why Josh Shapiro was on last night. It can be cut 11. He's talking about, because, they just had Republicans there going, yeah, this is the gold standard. We got to start this in Pennsylvania now, right? And Josh Shapiro.
But notwithstanding the sham and notwithstanding this travel and this circus that surrounds Donald Trump and his enablers, what they're doing is inflicting real damage to our democracy. By continuing to peddle this big lie, they're really undermining our Constitution. They're undermining our system.
I mean, and again, AG, let's just one more, just the straight line to January 6th.
And we saw what happened in those weeks after the election, where the lie was being told over and over and over again. And you could draw a direct line between not just the rhetoric that was occurring on the stump, but what was occurring in the courts of this Commonwealth and of this country, which ultimately led directly to the insurrection on January 6th. There's real damage to our democracy. There's real threats of violence as a result of folks like those Pennsylvania lawmakers continuing to suck up to Donald Trump and to do his bidding for him.
Yeah. I mean, AG, isn't that the fear? This is going to happen again in August. The violence around the reinstallation or whatever that he's calling it that does not exist. Right? Yeah,
he's going to put out some big fake event that won't happen, that will enrage and motivate and mobilize people. And it's also, not to mention the big lie is giving them fodder to pass all of these extremely racist voter suppression bills across the country, hundreds that they're trying to put through. And hey, you know what? Big ups to Texas Democrats for walking out and taking their corn away.
Yeah, don't help us, AG. Help us with what we should do, because I keep saying National Democrats should take a page from that. We got to fight by any means necessary. We are this close to losing our democracy. Like, these laws in state after state are there's only so much we can do, right? Legally and in the courts and state by state. Give us a game plan, because you had some ideas about the filibuster. You said, I wonder if we can convince a couple of Republican senators to make up for Manchin and Sinema to vote to mini-nuke the filibuster only for voting rights bills, since voter suppression bills prevent some Republicans from voting too. I mean, that's the thing. It's trying to vote by mail. All that stuff is hurting everybody. I mean, do you think that's possible?
I don't know. First of all, I don't know what's going on with Manchin and Sinema, but I think because they will not touch the filibuster, even in a mini nuke situation. But perhaps if we spoke to, because I call this the Longshanks paradox, right? Remember in Braveheart when he pulls the archers out and he's like, but won't we hit our own men? And he's like, yeah, but we'll hit theirs as well. And I feel like this is what they're doing with these voter suppression bills. And they're just banking on taking out more Democrats than Republicans because they disproportionately impact, communities of color.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, why don't we talk to some Republicans? Because do you remember in 2020 when Donald Trump was like, everyone vote by mail is not reliable, and people in some Republican states were like, shut up, stop saying that. We rely on vote by mail. I'm wondering if there are any Republican senators who feel the same way, who'd be willing to mini nuke maybe like foundational democracy bills like voting rights and like that, to just carve out that little bit so we can get the John Lewis voting rights bill passed. I know Manchin is trying to write his own voting rights bill, but there seems to be bipartisan want for it, but we can't get past that 60 threshold. We would have to at least mini kill the filibuster for that particular bill or bills like it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Joe Manchin does that a lot. Remember him, the Manchin to me thing? He's like, I got this gun safety. Don't worry. I can get it done. And then what happened there? Okay. So